Donald Trump has spent much of his political career unintentionally drawing more attention to the very things he tries to hide. There's even a name for this. It's called the Streisand effect, where attempts to suppress information only make it spread further. And in Trump's case, we might as well call it the Trump-Epstein effect, because despite every effort to downplay or distance himself from the controversy surrounding Jeffrey Epstein, his own actions and statements have only brought more public focus to it. This same pattern is happening again. This time with questions about Trump's health. From reports about his appearance to conflicting statements from his team, the more they try to project strength, the more questions seem to arise. And now, former Florida Attorney General Pam Bondi has become a central figure in this unfolding story, after her recent hearing raised serious questions that are only intensifying the scrutiny around Trump's condition and credibility. We're going to unpack everything that's come out so far. But before we do, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps us continue bringing you independent coverage like this. Now, before we get into the latest leaks and what Pam Bondi wouldn't say publicly during her hearing, let's start with how this all began.
But then how about the Truth Social post on September 20th, 2025, in which the president said, "We can't delay any longer, Pam," using your name, "not bringing criminal charges are killing our reputation," his words, "and credibility." And then goes on to tell you to prosecute a member of this committee, to prosecute the Attorney General of New York, and to prosecute James Comey. Do you consider that a directive to the Justice Department?
Senator Klobuchar, President Trump is the most transparent president in American history, and I don't think he said anything that he hasn't said for years.
Trump, of course, literally posted to social media telling Pam to indict Comey, quote, "Pam, we can't delay any longer. Justice must be served now, President TJT." And remember, when the U.S. Attorney for Eastern Virginia, who was appointed by Trump, right, had good conservative bona fides, Emil Bovee apparently really liked him, worked with him, when he refused to do this obviously illegal, unconstitutional, malicious act, saying there wasn't sufficient evidence of a crime and it would be an enormous transgression to prosecute someone because the president didn't like him, Bondi's DOJ forced him out, and they replaced him with a prosecutor who never prosecuted a case in her life so that she could indict Comey. A woman who, by the way, had previously been Trump's defense attorney. Just as well, Pam Bondi once defended Trump in his first impeachment trial back in 2020 before he gave her this highest legal post in the land. Bondi is in that post to do one thing and one thing only, whatever Trump wants her to do. She's not here to answer to anyone else, least of all the American people and their elected officials, as California Senator Adam Schiff pointed out in another testy exchange.
So these are just some of the questions you refuse to answer, or have answered with personal attacks on members of this committee. You were asked whether you consulted with career ethics lawyers, as you promised you would do during your nomination hearing, when you approved the president receiving a $400 million gift from the Qataris. You refused to answer that question. You were asked who or what role you may have played, or who played the role in asking that Trump's name be flagged in any of the Epstein documents gathered by the FBI. You refused to answer that question. You were asked whether Holman kept the $50,000 bribe money. You refused to answer that question. You were asked whether Holman paid taxes on the $50,000 bribe money. You refused to answer that question. You were asked, did career prosecutors find insufficient evidence to charge James Comey? You refused to answer that question. You were asked, how are military strikes on these boats in the Caribbean legal? And you refused to even answer that question. You were asked,
law degree,
excuse
Senator
me.
So Pam Bondi at her Senate hearing was deny. I don't want to talk about anything. And we know that's because Pam Bondi serves the audience of one, and that one is Donald Trump. Ultimately, Pam Bondi is taking all of her instructions from Donald Trump. It's the first time in history that a president has had an AG be just a direct extension of whatever they want. Of course, this is what Donald Trump accused Joe Biden of, but Merrick Garland is too incompetent to have actually done his job. Not done what Joe Biden wanted, but done his job and put Donald Trump behind bars because he is a criminal. But Pam Bondi hasn't given Donald Trump really the clean slate, the perfect record, the no bad publicity. It's been a lot of bad publicity, of course, around Epstein, but Donald Trump has wanted much more out of Pam Bondi to go after Donald Trump's political opponents, and he told her to do so. And a Truth Social post that a lot of people speculated was simply a warning to Bondi. But now, what we believe that it's a DM is being made clear by an admission that is Pam Bondi's fault that is blowing up Donald Trump's health scandal in more ways than one. But we're going to start with the Bondi article first. White House official admits Trump's public screed against Pam Bondi was supposed to be a private message. White House officials confirmed that a wild social media post by Donald Trump was intended to be directed to Attorney General Pam Bondi. The Wall Street Journal reported on Wednesday last month, of course, Trump posted a screen on Truth Social and curiously began by addressing Pam Bondi. In the message, the president expressed frustration that the DOJ had not yet indicted his political foes. Many suspected at the time that Trump had publicly posted the message in error, which the officials said was the case. Moreover, the Journal reported that Bondi was upset by the snafu, which Trump tried to make up for in a subsequent post commending her. On September 20th, Trump meant to send a private message to Attorney General Pam Bondi, urging her to prosecute former FBI Director James Comey and his other favorite targets, according to U.S. officials familiar with the matter. "We can't delay any longer. It's killing our reputation and credibility," Trump wrote. Trump believed he sent the message to Bondi directly, addressing it to Pam, and was surprised to learn it was public, the official said. Bondi grew upset, and it might be the reason that this leak has become public. So Donald Trump is so out of it that he didn't know he was sending what was supposed to be a private message to Pam Bondi to the entire world via Truth Social. And it took an aide telling him that because Pam Bondi was pissed and because she allowed this to get out for us to now know that that was the case. Of course, back then, I had speculated that this was a DM. I thought it was a DM. Now, we know it was supposed to be a DM, but this is bringing a lot of attention, obviously, to Trump's decline, which has only been made worse by the fact that his doctor visit, his annual checkup is coming up. And there's a reason why it's not so great for Trump. Trump traveling to Walter Reed on Friday for checkup and to meet with troops. Donald Trump is expected to travel to Walter Reed National Military Medical Center on Friday for his yearly checkup. White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt said in a statement, noting that he would also have a planned meeting with troops. Trump's visit to Walter Reed comes just months after the president received what the White House called the annual physical examination on April 11th. This is interesting because that April announcement was the White House using a disgraced doctor to declare Trump healthy. The White House is vouching for Donald Trump's health using a disgraced doctor who gave up his full-time medical license and was stripped of his military rank after a series of scandals. It being the White House issued a statement in the name of Ronnie Jackson and not that of the actual White House physician. Jackson is now a MAGA loyalist member of the House of Representatives. So Donald Trump is set to undergo his official annual physical soon, even though, according to past reports, he's supposedly in perfect health. But let's not forget that previous assessment came from a doctor with a controversial record and close political ties, raising real questions about credibility. Now, This upcoming hospital visit is making headlines, especially among those who've been paying close attention to Trump's health and public behavior. While much of the mainstream media focuses elsewhere, this story matters. It speaks directly to transparency, accountability, and fitness for office. For years, Trump has worked hard to control the narrative around both his physical and cognitive health, yet moments of confusion and inconsistent behavior continue to raise concern. And surprisingly few journalists are willing to talk about it openly. Lawrence O'Donnell has been one of the few voices calling out this media silence. For example, Trump recently conducted what was described as an interview with CNN's Jake Tapper, entirely over text. Think about that. This wasn't a fast-paced schedule issue or a time crunch. Trump is known for constantly engaging with the press. So why avoid a live conversation? Ivan Tapper himself admitted that Trump left many questions unanswered. That's not transparency. That's avoidance. And it highlights a larger problem. When journalists accept limited or incomplete answers from those in power, the public loses clarity. This same pattern of secrecy extends far beyond health concerns. According to multiple reports, Speaker Mike Johnson is now facing scrutiny for allegedly blocking the release of key documents related to high-profile investigations, including materials tied to long-standing public interest cases. Thankfully, journalists like Chris Hayes have started to shine a light on this, emphasizing just how much accountability still matters. Let's take a look at that important moment right here.
So why won't he swear in Grijalva now? Well, it appears to have, contra Johnson, everything to do with Jeffrey Epstein. She has already said, Alita Grijalva, that she will sign onto that bipartisan discharge petition that would force the House to vote on the full release of the Epstein files once the number of signatures on that petition reaches the magical number of 218. Now, listen close. Right now, that petition has 217 signatures, which includes 4 Republicans. But that number can still shrink for now. You see, according to the House rules, quote, members may add or remove their names until a petition has obtained 218 signatures. If a discharge petition reaches this threshold, a majority of the House's 435 members, the list of names is frozen, printed in the congressional record, and the discharge motion is entered in the House Journal. In other words, right now, because the Epstein discharge petition is just one singular signature short of the big threshold, people can take their names off it. They can change their minds. Right now, Johnson can pressure the 4 Republican signers to do just that. He has time to do it as long as he keeps Alita Grijalva out of Congress. You see, because the second she swears in, she signs the petition and it's done. There's no backsies. And a floor vote on the Epstein files will happen. Today in the Capitol, both of Arizona's senators asked Johnson if that's why he won't swear in their colleague.
I'm going to be completely honest with you right now. I've been speaking with friends who work closely with Democratic leadership, and I'm urging them to take action. It looks like they're finally putting something together. We've already seen some great efforts from Democrats like Robert Garcia and his team. They've been doing fantastic work, but right now, I'm focused on the situation involving Adelita Grijalva. Her case is critical. From what I've learned, a press conference is being organized to highlight the fact that she still hasn't been officially sworn into Congress. And that matters, because her signature would make her the 218th name needed on the discharge petition to bring a vote on releasing key government files related to long-standing public interest cases. Speaker Mike Johnson's refusal to move forward with this process raises serious questions about transparency and accountability in our government. The American people deserve answers, plain and simple. I'm calling on Democratic leadership, including Hakeem Jeffries, to stay strong, stay vocal, and keep pushing for the truth. And to his credit, he's been doing better lately. So let's keep that momentum going. We'll continue covering this story on this channel every single day, and I know you'll be right there with us. If you want to support this work, please hit the subscribe button, leave a like on this video, and drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I will see you soon.